You don't need a luxury kitchen to prepare gourmet meals. My name is Dennis. I live in a mobile home in a trailer park, and this is my kitchen. I found some shrimp on sale lately at a pretty good price. They're a nice size shrimp, pretty large, and I got them for half price. So I thought I've got to work up some recipes that I can use for these shrimp. And the one I want to do today is a beer batter shrimp. Now what intrigues me about this is, number one, it's a little on the spicy side. There's cayenne pepper in it. I'm not real strong on spicy foods, but I thought it's worth a try. The real thing that intrigues me about this is that the batter doesn't use any baking powder. I made fish and chips a while back, and you use baking powder in the dough, in the batter. That's what gives it the leavening. I don't know what's going to happen with this when I fry it. So I thought, well, let's experiment. I'll see what one of the shrimps looks like after it's fried, and I can always whip in some baking powder into the batter if I don't like it. Now the first thing I have to do is make the batter and the tartar sauce, because those two have to sit in the refrigerator for quite a while. The batter has to sit in the refrigerator for at least an hour before it's ready to work with. So let's start making our beer batter first. What I'm going to give you here in this recipe is I'm going to give you proportions for making enough to feed 4. But because I'm experimenting, I'm only going to work with half the amount. So if these look like small amounts of ingredients, it's because I'm doing half. But what you need to do is, into a medium-sized bowl, you want to put 1 cup, 5 ounces, or 142 grams of all-purpose flour, 1 tablespoon of paprika, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and 1/4 teaspoon cayenne pepper. You can ramp this up to 1/2 teaspoon. You can make this as hot as you want, but just be aware that shrimp is a mild fish. You don't want to overpower it with a lot of spiciness. Whisk these together. And then add 12 ounces of beer, lager beer, and then about 1/2 teaspoon of Dijon mustard. And that should be enough. And mix this together. Now I want to cover this. I have these silicone universal lids. I mean, they work so well. Look at that. It lifts up the bowl as well. You need to let this sit for at least 1 hour at room temperature. You don't need to refrigerate this. So I'm going to set this aside, and then I'm going to start working on my tartar sauce. Again, I'm making about a half portion, figuring enough for 4 people. I'm going to say 2 cups of mayonnaise. That's about 400 grams. And then you want 2 tablespoons of either a sweet or a dill pickle relish, whether you want your tartar sauce to be tart or sweet, or you could mix a little bit of each. I have sweet pickle relish and I have dill. I'm going to use dill in this. So 4 tablespoons, I'm going to use 2. Again, because I'm making half a portion. I can smell that dill. Yes, that's a jet going overhead. Okay. Then I'm going to put 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, but I'm going to do a little trick in this. What would happen if you were to put lemon zest in there? I mean, this is fish, and I think about fish always benefits from lemon. So I'm going to experiment with this, and I'm just going to put, this is a lemon off my neighbor's tree. She tells me to go by there and take lemons whenever I want because she doesn't use them. That's one of the beauties of living in Southern California, is there are lemon trees everywhere. If you have generous neighbors like I do, but like I said, she doesn't use her lemons. She says, come over and pick as much as you want, whenever you want, because if I pick them, she doesn't have to pick them up when they fall off the tree onto the ground. And then, again, about 2 tablespoons. I'm going to try to guess about a tablespoon of my lemon juice here. I want to use one of these. This is a really juicy lemon, so I'm not going to use all of that, just a little bit. I don't want to water it down too much. And then put a good pinch of salt in there. If you wanted to, you could ramp this up. There's some lemon zest there. You could ramp this up with some cayenne. And there is your tartar sauce. If you like it to be really tart, you could add more pickle relish to it. This is kind of light on the relish. I might add some more later, but right now I want to get a taste of this. So take out my red handled tasting spoon. I'm really feeling like I'm going to be adding more relish to this. Yeah, that does need more relish because it has right now, a real strong mayonnaise flavor. But I want more of a relish flavor. So I'm doubling the amount of relish going into this. That's the issue with some recipes, is you really have to make them and taste them to see if they're what you want. Once again, my tasting spoon. That's much better. I put a little more salt in there. I really like tartar sauce. It's like when I'm having fish in restaurants, like fried fish, they never give you enough tartar sauce. I always have to ask for another serving, which they're always happy to give. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so there's my tartar sauce. I'm going to cover this and put this in the refrigerator. My batter now has been sitting for an hour on the counter. I'm ready to start cooking, but next I want to talk about the shrimp. How do you like to hold your shrimp? Some people want to eat with a fork. If I'm in a restaurant and there's shrimp, like with pasta, it's a sauce, I don't want to get in there with my fingers and pick the shrimp up by the tail. I want to just eat it with a fork. So I don't like those restaurants that leave the tail shell on. But if it's a shrimp that's batter fried, I'm going to be dipping it into some sort of a sauce. The tail on is just fine. So now I have some really nice shrimp here. No odor at all. Really fresh shrimp. They're large in size. I'm going to show you how I'm going to peel these to leave the tail shell on so they'll be easy to eat with my fingers. I am in the meantime, by the way, heating oil. You need 2 or 3 quarts of oil, 2 or 3 liters of oil in a deep pan. You want to heat it up to 375 degrees, which is about 191 degrees Celsius. Now, shrimp have segments to their shells, right? Normally, when you want to leave part of a shrimp to be held by the tail, you leave the last segment on and the tail section on. These shrimp have already been deveined. If you don't have shrimp that is deveined, then you're going to have to cut down the center back and look for a dark vein in there. So there's my shrimp. Again, this last section is on and the tail is still on. Looks beautiful. All right, so I have the rest of my shrimp to do here. You need about 2 pounds total of shrimp to feed 4 people to give them a nice feed. That's about 900 grams of shelled, deveined shrimp. My oil now is just about coming up to temperature. It's nearing 375. I have here a bowl with some flour in it that I'm dredging my shrimp in. Shake off the excess flour and then coat the shrimp in the batter. Let any extra drip off and then drop it into the oil. And I'm going to do just one shrimp first because I want to see how it's going to taste. If I need to thicken this batter, I will. If I need to add some salt, I will. If I need to add some baking powder, I will. And I want to cook this shrimp until it's golden brown. It's going to be about 2 to 3, maybe 4 minutes. I have, in the meantime, added a little bit of flour, maybe a 1/4 cup, and I did add some baking powder to this because I wanted it to be thicker. I tasted that shrimp, and the flavor was good, but there wasn't enough of it. I felt as though, given the fact that I'm making a spicy batter fried shrimp, to me it should have tasted more of spiciness. And I think I can achieve that with a thicker coating. Now you want to fry your shrimp a few at a time. You don't want to crowd your pan because that'll take your temperature down. So 5 or 6 at a time. I have in the meantime lined a tray with paper towel to absorb fat. And as these cook, I'll transfer them to that paper towel lined tray. And I'll need to turn these over periodically so that they don't fry just on one side. And I am anticipating a delicious fried shrimp here. Look at that. Aren't they beautiful? There is my shrimp. Now you'll have twice as many of this as this if you make a full batch. I made a half batch. And there's some of my tartar sauce. The last step is to see how good this tastes. There they are. Those look so good. I so like shrimp. Dip it in some of my tartar sauce here. Yeah. Oh yeah. That's perfect. That batter is a little bit spicy. As I said, you could double the amount of cayenne going in there. You could add some tabasco sauce. I don't like things too spicy. Oh, that is good. So, excuse me. I gotta go enjoy my spicy beer batter fried shrimp. For a printable PDF copy of this recipe with step-by-step photographs, visit the White Trash Cooking website and look on the home page or in the recipe archive.